Welcome to the break.
Thank you guys for jumping back with us today on the Break Duelist channel. We do apologize about not being able to have our last week's post due to my illness. I got Ebola for a little while, and a beautiful spouse said to go ahead and step in and make up a video to kind of explain what was going on with us last week.
Literally makeup.
Without further ado, this week's discussion is actually going to be, instead of doing a deck profile, we will be discussing Duel Links and all of the problems that are currently annoying the living crap out of players that go ahead and play Duel Links. Without further ado, the first one that we're actually going to address is the Vagabond. And how it seems no matter what you are playing, whether it's Jirox, you can play Gladiator Beast, you can even play spellbook monsters such as Blue Boy and all the supporting spellbook cards.
Blue Boy?
Yeah, Blue Boy is the little blue magician that comes in the spellbooks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We'll put a picture of him in the video.
I was like, what?
Yeah. His nickname is Blue Boy, and the reason why is because he's a little kid that's dressed up like a wizard, but it's entirely blue, so his nickname's Blue Boy.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I said, we'll place a photo of him in the video.
A child's imagination's great, I guess.
Yeah. What would you say would be the biggest flaw in the Vagabond, based off of your personal experience playing Duel Links?
I understand.
And be clear to explain what it is that you're playing.
Why?
Because
I don't want people to know that. I play with Gladiator Beasts, and the reason why is because I love when they special summon from the deck. And then you could just continuously have a built deck. And even when they go to the graveyard, you can still have a card that targets 3 Gladiator Beasts in the graveyard and put them back into that deck. So you don't deck out. What I don't like about the Vagabond is, I understand he's supposed to be challenging. I understand he's supposed to be difficult, as all of the legendary duelists, if you want to call them that. But I don't like how he has so many restrictions, like no special summoning. That's what Gladiator Beasts do. They special summon. Why would you take that away from me? I can't even tribute summon because I'd have to have 2 on board. And by the time I do that, he's got like a 4K monster on the board. How is that fair?
See, I would have to agree that certain restrictions, such as no special summoning, with the Vagabond is kind of some straight up BS, and the reason being is because that doesn't just stop main deck special summons. That also means that you have no extra deck, and the only viable extra deck monster you can get out right now is a fusion monster. The problem with this is it doesn't allow for any of the other extra deck mechanics to be utilized in Duel Links, and even if you could utilize them, the restriction of no special summoning really hurts quite a few decks. And ironically, the restriction that you face when you face the Vagabond with these restrictions, the Vagabond doesn't have to follow in the first place. He can special summon all he wants, but you can't. I don't understand how they expect you to win stuff like that.
There's actually, I was dueling the Vagabond one time, and the restriction was no tribute summons. And he actually followed that along just fine, because he was playing Sylvans, the plants and tree, the big giant hermit tree or whatever the freak it's called.
Yeah.
But he immediately puts that on board and then gets the big guy with the axe, Guardioak or whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, no tribute summons were fine for him. He followed that stipulation pretty easily. I wonder why. But, yeah.
Well, the next major problem that we've seen pretty consistently, and I'm sure that you guys will see in other videos on YouTube here, one of the biggest rant complaints that people have with Duel Links currently is they came out with a new item that you can shop for in the shop called a Vagrant, which is basically the Vagabond, slightly easier to face without the restrictions that you can have posted or like assigned to you via somebody sending you a challenge over the Duel Links with their friend code, which will be in the description below for both myself and for my wife.
Let me stop you there. He's basically the Vagabond as a prostitute.
Oh
Because you
my
have to buy him
goodness.
for
Wow.
$1.99.
Okay, so this is true. You do have to buy the Vagrants. You do get 6 of them at a time. But all in all, for the $2 that you pay online, as much as it seems like it would be worth it, you don't really get anything positive out of it. Take this from personal experiences where when you go ahead and you do the purchase, there was an issue for a little while that was supposed to have been fixed where when you go to purchase them, you get them immediately. And then there would be like a 24-hour delay, which was what the problem was. But it's not worth it in the end to spend the $2 for it because you don't get any extra rare cards or you don't get any special skills or anything like that. So as far as the Vagrants go in the shop, just big thumbs down, Konami. That was kind of a really bad turning point for Duel Links.
They also do the card pack count whenever you're opening up packs from boxes and stuff. And I think the reason they started doing that is because people were in disbelief as how many gems they spent, precious, hard-earned gems, that they were not getting the packs that they were promised.
Yeah.
The amount, at least. That's why they have that 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10. 8 out of 10.
I think if we look up what Duel Links has on the phone application or computer-based application that you can download, they show like a rating score for like I think it's a 4-star rating out of 5 or something. I may be wrong on that. We could put that in the video as well if you want.
For the App Store?
Yeah.
Oh,
the
I
App
wouldn't
Store.
know. There's so many
Yeah,
crappy
well-
reviews on there.
We'll see if we can find the accurate page for you guys, and we'll try to put it in the description. As far as like a link to being able to see that or a way to access that on the App Store.
I think the only positive thing I could say about the Vagabond, getting back on that train, is that at least he gives you that experience.
Yeah, I mean you do get some decent experience, but all in all, it's not very often that you're going to be able to actually do that, especially if you're a new player starting right off. I mean, I had to restart, I think at one point with Duel Links, and I think the very first, like, 17 to 20 times that I faced the Vagabond, there was absolutely no chance of being able to overcome the obstacles just because they don't account for any new players coming into the game, and all that does is kind of make you feel crushed under a rock of depression.
But the thing is, that got dark real quick.
I know, right?
The thing is, new players that come into the game can immediately get gems for days. So then they can immediately go buy the newest set or box and then go and face the Vagabond and have absolutely no problems. Because why? They're new. They want to make the new players feel good.
But then here's the problem that you run into. Like we said, just because you spend a lot of gems doesn't mean you're necessarily going to go ahead and get exactly what it is that you're looking for. Most times when you open up a box or you go ahead and you buy into one, you're only going to get the mass majority of whatever the comments are because that's the highest probability of being able to pull from a box. The ultra rares are more often what you're trying to get out of the box just because those would get the most utility. Or at least that's what they're designed for.
Which I think is kind of a piece of poo. Just mainly, I understand they want to make cards look ultra rare and special and reset the box and spend more gems and buy more gems. Marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So next up, we're going to be talking a little bit about Duel Links PvP, or player versus player, for those of you that don't understand basic text type.
Acronym.
There we go, acronyms.
I think that's what they're called.
Script counter one ding. But when it comes to PvP, there's something a lot of people have been doing, and it's very aggravating to quite a few players. It's a thing that's called stalling. And I just, for clarification, what stalling is it's waiting out a timer in order for your opponent to just say screw it and hit the surrender button.
You're acting like your fans are retarded that they don't know what stalling is in Duel Links of all things. If they play Duel Links and they play PvP matches, they would know, I think.
Yeah, but not everybody plays PvP. That's why I explained it.
Well, not everybody plays Duel Links either.
This is true. But the purpose behind this is basically to get a cheap win just by seeing how much time you can waste against your opponent while you're going over a line with them.
Are you talking to me?
What would you have to say on the matter?
I hate PvP. I can't stand it just because everybody's always playing the next best thing. The Six Samurais, Boojins. What else is there? Spellbooks.
Yeah, spellbooks have been really big recently, especially because they just released a new box. It's got a deal with a new Silent Magician card. It's not a level version, but the effect of the card is that if it's destroyed, you can special summon. I believe it's the level 7 Silent Magician or level 8 Silent Magician. 7?
I think it's 7.
Yeah, I do believe it's 7. But basically, if this card gets destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon a level 7 Silent Magician, which is ridiculous. This card, I believe, has a 3200 stat point for attack, and the defense on it's like 2800, I do believe. And how it works is you can just special summon it by attributing one spellcaster monster that you control, which is why it works so well with spellbooks, because once you get your blue boy out, you play a bunch of spellbooks to go ahead and get a free pop on board or add another spellbook from your deck to your hand, and it takes a little while for these combos to go off. And with these, there's no complaint because that's how you have to play the deck. However, for people that stall, it's very obvious because it will take them almost the full 200 and I think it's 30 seconds to start with just to set a card and pass.
I don't like spellbooks just for the fact that there's so many spellbook cards. It literally feels like I'm on drugs when I'm playing against somebody that is playing that deck. I was player versus player against some other person, didn't catch their name. I'm glad I didn't. But they play one card, and then magically they're like, let's search for the top 3 spellbook cards. Now you get to choose a random card. It's the Spellbook of Power. It's the Spellbook of, what, Fate?
Knowledge.
It's knowledge and...
There's Blue Boy, Spellbook of Power, Spellbook of Knowledge, Spellbook of, I believe it's Grasping is the last one that they have released. And what it does is you can target a banished spellbook and add it to your hand, which is ridiculous. Like, why should that be a thing? Because immediately following that, they'll play another card that just says, oh, banish a spellbook. So you immediately have fuel to reuse that engine.
This person went through, I think, like 6 different spell cards in one turn.
Yeah.
And it was ridiculous.
Just imagine if they were playing, was it that mythical...
Beast Cerberus?
Yeah, Mythical Beast Cerberus. Every time you play a spell card, it gains, what, like 300 or 400 attack or some crap like that?
I think it's 300.
300 attack?
Or 200, 300.
And so, what winds up happening is he's just like a big caking monster around the field. Now that we're kind of done talking a little bit about...
We didn't really talk about it. So, basically... What we were talking about as far as PvP goes with people stalling and just taking as much time as possible to make one single play, whether it's setting a monster and passing or just setting a couple cards face down on the field to intimidate you and pass.
Yeah.
And then the minute you play something, then they're like, haha,
Wall of Disruption.
I'm going to screw up your world.
Enemy Controller, Wall of Disruption, Draining Shield, Sphere of Karibo. The list keeps going on and on.
Enemy Controller.
Enemy Controller that just wins games. Like, I've seen very, very few decks that actually play less than 3 that are actually past gold rank.
I don't play any at all.
Rogue. But some honorable shout-outs to some current decks that are being played. There's a Sylvian combo that's been pretty big recently, involving Sylvian Marshleaf, as well as Como Sylvian, which is like the level 2 fire Sylvian monster. It gets out Sylvian, I believe it's Godork or Godork? Guardioke, there we go. That one. Yeah, I'm going to get a lot of hate in the comments below.
You're already getting a lot of hate from me over here, because once again, you jumped off topic.
Yeah. But the Sylvians are starting to be on a rise. We have been posting to the page as well on our Facebook, which will be in the comment section below.
Stop!
What?
You went from, we're going to talk about the PvP and what we have a problem with it. Now we're going to talk about the Sylvan deck randomly. Now we're going to talk about the Facebook page. But, yeah, PvP. Sometimes you'll duel a person, since my mind's still on that track. Sometimes you'll duel a person and they'll take forever to make every turn. And I mean every turn. And that's like once in every 3 or 4 players you play against. Other players are like, I know what I'm doing, I know what my deck does, let's just get this over with and get it done. Other people are like, do I want to? No. They might have a, no.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I'd just pass, and then play all my spell speeds and crap. But
and then their following turn will come around and they'll do the same thing.
Yeah, but we think that a good thing to help prevent that would be something like send them a notification like, you're still in a duel, quit walking away to go take a crap, or quit eating.
Yeah. Something that Duel Links could definitely do to improve upon the PvP is we understand why they don't use a world chat, because like many MMOs, especially on phone applications that do have world chat, you see a lot of people that will type inappropriate messages to each other, things like that. So it's understandable why Duel Links doesn't allow for that.
Or hacker alert, get you free gems. Free gems at this website.
Yeah. And so a good answer to being able to make this where it's a little bit more convenient for the individuals who are actually there to play the game, and you don't run into the issue of like needing a chat or something to be like, hey, where are you, blah blah blah, or like people misusing it or using it inappropriately, is put a little notification button at the bottom of the screen or even on the side, someplace that's out of the way from your basic summoning mechanics, or dropping cards to the board, where it gives your opponent like 10 to 20 seconds to respond, and if for some reason they're unable to, it just forfeits the match from that individual. And the reason why this would be a good thing is because it means that people that would go into PvP would only have X amount of time before their turn would need to be done. Now, of course, we want to be reasonable with this, so still give them like a minute and a half before that notification button appears.
There's something else I thought about too, and that's internet connection.
Yeah.
Internet connection, when it gets lost between you and that one player, whether it's on your side or their side, it still counts as a dual loss.
Yeah. This is a very common problem that a lot of people are a bit upset about, because it makes events such as like when they do like world championships or qualifiers or anything like that in game, if for some reason you happen to be doing one of these events, or even just like a scheduled event where you can get like a special character unlocked for like a seasonal event, we'll say Halloween for example.
Thinking about is characters and their skills. Like, he brought it up to me that some characters can have the skill to basically restart a brick hand. Like if you just drew all your spells and traps or all your big boy monsters, then they can easily just be like, haha, I have this magical powerful skill and now I can use it and switch out cards.
Yeah.
Cards.
And the crazy part is, like, this could be used on turn 1 or turn 2. The reason why this is kind of an unfair skill, at least for the moment, is because not every character has this as an obtainable skill. This means that certain characters, say, for example, Bandit Keith, he actually can get this skill by leveling up. However, there's other characters that can have it as a secret skill, but not every character is guaranteed an opportunity to have this at some point, whether it's obtaining it through leveling up, getting it as like a prize reward for beating a certain individual character, or even through an event. This means that if you play, for example, characters like Tia Gardner or even Ishtar Izui. Ishizu, there we go.
Butchered that.
Yeah, I did butcher it. But if you play these characters, you're not going to be able to ever use that skill. This gives an unfair advantage against these specific characters if you're playing against somebody who does have that skill or has an obtainable way of getting that skill for a certain or specific character. Like Yugi Moto, Joey Wheeler,
Bandit Keith.
Yeah, and Bandit Keith, like each of these characters in one way or another is able to get the restart skill.
Do you think restart would be like your least favorite skill?
I don't think that it would be my least favorite skill, but I do believe that it should be a staple skill, meaning that it should be obtainable for all characters if they're going to have it. That just promotes good probability between players of being able to have that skill. In addition to it, it does give everybody a fair and equal opportunity to be able to have a reset for a hand, and not just a couple of select characters giving an unfair advantage, especially during PvP events, whether it be for like World Championship qualifiers, the World Championship even, or not even just major events, but like more down low events where you get character unlocks, or like I believe they got it. It's the Duelist Kingdom event that they do annually with Pegasus, where you have to go through the castles in each of the areas to be able to get X amount of stars and roll the dice to see how far you can go. I also don't think that the Vagabond should be part of these events either. Okay, this is absolutely ridiculous. Oh, it's not just hard enough to beat them in Duel World. No, now you've got to beat them in an event, which
Duel Kingdom.
Yeah, which is
That's always fun.
Unbelievable. Like, it's not bad because yes, it's a creative idea, but at the same time, he wasn't actually part of like the actual Duelist Kingdom. So why is he part of it?
Series.
Yeah, it's basically like we actually did do a little bit of research on this. The Vagabond's actually based off of Ash Ketchum from Pokemon. This is very disappointing to see that Konami was just like, oh, Ash Ketchum, let's make him a duelist. We'll call him the Vagabond. Down low. Shh.
Gotta catch them all.
But all in all, Duel Links has definitely been progressing over the last year and a half, almost 2 years that it's been out, since its release in 2016, which is pretty cool.
When will we, though, eventually get 5 areas, 5 main monster zones, and 5 main spell or trap zones? When will we eventually get at least a 40-card deck so we're not bricking every duel?
Yeah. I think what the purpose behind them having the 3 monster zones and the 3 spells and traps.
If you say it's supposed to be challenging, I'm going to punch you right out of this chair.
No, I don't think it's meant for necessarily just a challenge, but they're trying to center it towards the original Yu-Gi-Oh! But the problem is, even in the original Yu-Gi-Oh!, like if you go Gen 1 series, they're still playing 5 monsters and 5 spells and traps. My big complaint with Duel Links right now is there's no XC summoning, there's no Synchro summoning, and there's no Link summoning.
Well, you gotta slow the hell down first. I mean, they gotta get through the GX series still, and they gotta move on to whatever the next series is. That's supposedly my favorite with motorcycles.
That would be 5Ds.
Okay, there we go. The 5Ds.
Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds era. And then following that, we got some Zexal, so big high hopes for the future that Mermel's coming to Duel Links. That would be great.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I would be grateful for them to do that. So what was your favorite skill from the Duel Link series?
My favorite skill.
Yeah.
Is I'll start with my least favorite. To move on to the my what is it? My favorite.
Yeah.
Anyway, my least favorite would be Jade and Yuki's skill when in the tag team duel tournament thing event was going on right now. As far as like when this video gets posted, it'll still be going on, I think.
Yeah, till Friday.
Oh, till Friday. Anyway, Jaden has a skill with the Crystal Beast dude, whatever his name is, Chrysler. The car.
Chrysler?
The car.
Wow.
I don't know what his name is, so he just uses Crystal Beast, so I'm gonna call him Chrysler.
Chrysler the Crystal Beast.
Make it a card. Anyway,
DD car.
he has a skill which lets him set, or not set, but have that field spell card for elemental heroes and stuff. Stop it. And, could you not with your feet? But what is it? It's like one less fusion material, or
you can fusion summon using one less fusion material. And the fusion monster he typically goes into requires what, 3?
I think so.
Yeah.
And then the other dude, I freaking hate him, Chrysler. But the fact that he can just have Rainbow Dragon on the field for almost literally next to no costs.
Yeah.
But my favorite skill, I think, would probably be, unfortunately, because it doesn't make sense, because watching the first series and growing up with that as a kid, because born in 96, grew up literally with Yu-Gi-Oh! And Digimon and all that. But I think my favorite, even though it doesn't make sense, is probably Ishizu's when you gain life points each time you draw a fairy monster. So when you play fairies, you get a buttload of
life points from nowhere. Most people know Ishizu's, or Ishizu from the original series playing Gravekeepers. Don't have fairies, so it's kind of a weird mechanic that she gets life points just because she plays fairy decks. It's just like, what was Konami trying to go for there?
I don't know.
Like, I get that that's a thing for fairies, is to gain life points. They wanted
to make her look appealing, because Taya doesn't have that.
Yeah.
Screw her.
But that is what we've got for you guys today on today's discussion for Duel Links from the Break Duelist channel. We do appreciate all of the support from you guys, and we look forward to seeing you in the next break. Please make sure to hit that like button for Facebook and hit that notification bell for future videos from the Break Duelist channel. Thank you guys for all the support. This is the Break Duelist and his wife signing out. Welcome to the break.